What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We are here after a frustrating draw, 1-1 against Fulham at the Cottage. I'm your host, Stephen, as always, joined by my brother, Scans, and our London correspondent, homie. Fellas, pretty frustrating performance today. I think we should just get right into the opening statements here, let out all the frustration. So I'll go ahead and kick us off. Ultimately, the exact game I thought it was going to end up being. I said on the last podcast that it was going to be a really hard-fought game, especially if Fulham played five in the back, which they did. And you could see that when they were able to shut down Trent and Robertson, we had absolutely no creativity going forward. And another tale of two halves, a terrible first half, much better second half. And if we played in the first half how we did in the second half, we would not have the problems. And injuries are continuing to add up. It's very frustrating, and especially with all the other results this week, 3 points would have been massive, put us top of the table. But absolutely frustrating performance. It's going to be a tough episode to get through, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think my main issue was we looked completely out of it in the first half. Obviously, the second half was much better, but Fulham came out and they punched us in the mouth right away. They had the 2,000 fans behind them, and they started playing really well. They had that press going right away. Our midfield definitely wasn't ready for that. Genie and Curtis Jones, I think, were completely out of the game. They lacked the proper touch. They were having trouble distributing to the front three. And the only one who really played well in that first half for me was Hendo and Allison. I thought Henderson was kind of cleaning up the mess for everybody whenever somebody made a mistake. Even Robertson didn't play well either, and he's been kind of our anchor back there. But and you see Joel Matip go off. I mean, I'm just wondering if there were some tired legs out there. Genie's played. This is his 12th or 13th consecutive game in a row, including club and country. Henderson's been playing a lot. Trent just came back from injury. I mean, could we have done with more of a rest midweek? I don't know, but it definitely showed something was off in the first half.
For me, I think it's a bad at office. It's a massive 2 points dropped, and I think the performance in the first half was abysmal. Again, and we've seen it too many times. Our away form is atrocious in the league. What's one win in 6 games? It's not good enough. We can't just rely on always winning at home. And I think the concern for me again was the fact that why is it every time we go away we start so slow, and it's only to the second half till Klopp gives us a kick on the backside do the players actually care or actually turn up and look as if they're actually with it. Because the first half, yes, I know Fulham had the fans behind them, but it's just unacceptable, to be honest. And I think, we could have been like 3-0 down in the first half. It wasn't for Alisson's great saves. Fulham should be outside. If they had better finishing, then the game's over, to be honest. And I think it's just annoying again, because I thought in the first half we weren't at the paces. We were all over the place. There was no midfielders being totally bypassed. I thought Robbo was poor, but I thought Trent was poor as well. I didn't see what Trent offered. I didn't agree with starting Trent today. I said that he shouldn't have started after starting midweek, and he was poor. He didn't offer. His crosses were all for the whole game, and I just thought again. I thought the front three were poor again. Marnie. We'll go on to Marnie later, but I just think it's frustrating, and I thought Bobby didn't have a good game either. I think apart from the penalty, I didn't think Salah had a good game either. So I think it was poor performances. And I just felt overall, we were looking to Jones, a 19-year-old, to be the person that's going to drive us forward and create stuff for us. There was no one else in terms of senior players stepping up to the plate and say, look, let's get this game under control. And I think that's you're asking a 19-year-old to be the driving force between a title chase, a title run. And I just don't know. I'm just concerned, the fact that we are so poor away from home. And it's been that way since Brighton game, so I just see I'm happy we got the point, but yeah, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, I completely agree, but let's get it down into it so we can break it down here. Let's get into the rundown. So I think we even have to start before the game. As frustrating as the game was, even more frustrating news coming out. It looks like Naby again picked up a slight knock in the last game. Diogo Jota being reported that he's out 6 to 8 weeks. And now Tsimikas as well has turned up with another injury, and he's going to be facing a long spell on the sideline. So that is now all 3 of our summer signings out at the same time. And Naby again little banged up, as well as now Joel Matip leaving the game with a back injury. So, guys, again, we talked about Klopp's decision to play all these guys midweek, and now look at everyone's going down one by one. I mean, what are your thoughts now on even more injuries hitting this team?
I think it devastates us, to be honest. And I think obviously we are on one side, we are probably the most unluckiest team in the Premiership to have all these injuries. And I think there's got to be something, I don't know, there's got to be something to it why we keep getting injuries and other teams aren't. Not to the point where there's so many players injured. Fair enough, Chelsea might have 3 players out, but there's got to be something that we are doing in our training or wherever that's making us players pick up so many injuries. And I think some of these injuries could be avoided. And I know there's been massive debates of different Liverpool fans and different sides. Some saying, "Oh, Klopp had no choice but to play that team on Wednesday." Some are saying, "No, he didn't have to play that. He could have rested them." I'm the side he could have rested these players because I don't see the point. I don't want to go on about the Champions League game, but I don't see the point of us including youngsters like Stewart in the Champions League squad, but they're not playing them when they got a chance. And I think that now we're seeing the fact that I don't really care if they got smashed. If we got smashed, so what? Experience for them then. It's a dead rubber match. Why are we playing players like bring on Mane on in that game when he's already knackered? I didn't understand it. Why are we playing like I got Trent, fair enough, but I didn't understand the other ones being played. And I think these injury tolls is huge. Now we've lost our informed striker for 6 to 8 weeks, and the games he's going to miss the both Spurs games, Man United at home. He'll probably miss the City game away. He'll miss Southampton away, Palace away, Newcastle. Those are hard games. They're not easy games. And
let me ask you, what's the difference between playing youngsters in the Carabao Cup and playing youngsters in the Champions League midweek in a rubber match? I mean,
I think it's prestige.
I know money's involved, and it's I think £900 for a draw and 2.5 or 2.7 for a win, but it's got to be more than that.
I think it's prestige that the Carabao Cup, because it's less competition, because the Champions League, it's that feeling that I can't put a weakened team out in the Champions League because of the prestige of it and because of Liverpool's history and how people react to it. And if we get smashed like 5-0, then people are going to criticize me. I'd rather take the criticism because I think I'd rather have taken the criticism and then, look, I'm not obviously criticizing Klopp. I think Klopp's a world-class manager. We're lucky to have him and he's, been a revelation for the club. But this whole idea, which seems to be a narrative going around that you can't criticize Klopp, you can't question him. And if you question him, you're not a real fan. That's going around. I think it doesn't make sense because, managers, doesn't matter how successful you are all open to criticism. All open to, as long as it's constructive, they're all open to criticism. No one's perfect, not even Klopp. He makes mistakes. So, we can't say you can criticize the politician who's got more information than we do when they're making decisions, but you can't criticize Klopp because he's got more information. You can't be one, you can't be the other way, Yes, they have more information, but yes, as fans, we have the right to say, look, we disagree with their decision. And I think the injuries are obviously catching up to us now because I think Ginny looked completely leggy and he had no influence in that game really overall. And I think that caught up with him. And I think it is catching up with us. And I think it's now going to take a toll. Losing Jota is going to really hurt us big time because the other strikers aren't firing. They're not scoring goals. And that's going to hurt us big time over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's injuries too, though. I mean, you can't just put it all on Klopp. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of ammo at his disposal. I mean,
I'm not putting on Klopp.
Besides Jones, Henderson, and Wijnaldum. I mean, he put in Minamino, who's doesn't really fit the mold for that type of midfielder in our system.
Yeah, I'm not putting it on Klopp. Obviously, of course, some of these injuries we can't legislate. Some of them out of Klopp's hands, and they couldn't legislate. But I think the Jota one, he could have legislated because that was in his hands for me.
Yeah.
I think, otherwise all the rest of the injuries, nothing we can do about those. Those are just unlucky. But I just think it's luck's against us, and it's going to be to win the league now. We can still win it, and I still think we should win it. But if we win the league now with everything that's happened, it's going to be the best title win ever, to be honest. Because luck, and the odds are just trying to screw us over. Because I don't see. If any title team has ever had this many injuries.
No, and I mean, I was surprised. I mean, I don't think any of us here had Fabinho and Matip both starting this game today. I thought for sure Matip was going to give us heading into Tottenham. I thought this would have been, a good game for either Reece Williams or Nat Phillips, depending on who started up top. But I mean, again, and look at he played today, and then of course after 45 minutes he has to come off. But honestly, pretty just frustrating performance, especially in the first half. I think literally only Allison played well, and even in the second half, Robbo was really the first guy to really start turning it on. And again, we saw it, like you said, we're home, another away game and another game when it took us 30, 35 minutes to even start getting into the rhythm. I mean, we talk about it all the time in the show. If we play like this against the top teams, they're going to get one early on us, just like Fulham did. We're not going to be able to break them down because they got more talent. So, I mean, how frustrating is that just to see another slow start with the lineup that we had?
I think Fulham changed their strategy at halftime too. I mean, we definitely had much more of the ball. I mean, we had a lot of the ball in both halves. I think in the first half we had 70% possession or something like that, but they weren't pressing as much. We had a lot more time on the ball is something that I noticed. That's why you saw the likes of someone like Curtis Jones start to perform pretty well. And what Fulham did so well in the first half and really throughout the game was their wingbacks they were covering two positions. You saw Robinson on that left-hand side for Fulham. He was basically helping to double team Salah, but then once that switch occurred, he would jump out and try to prevent Trent. So they were doing a lot of work. I think that's why the strategy somewhat changed in the second half. I think that they realized that they wouldn't be able to keep this up for 90 minutes, maybe even for 60 minutes. So that essentially, I think, helped us get back into the game a little bit.
Yeah, but I also think, too, that the 2,000 fans, especially at the start of the game, that was their first home game with fans back, and I think that they really used that energy in the first 30 minutes from the fans to really push them forwards because, I mean, a guy like Ruben Loftus-Cheek was dominating that first 15 minutes. Their entire midfield was running over our midfield in that first 20 minutes. We had no answer at all. We could not – all of our possession, I think we still outpossessed them like 60-40 or something like that, but all of our possession was in our side of the field. We had absolutely nothing because those guys were every single 50-50 ball was turned into a 60-40 ball for Fulham. They just wanted it way more. And you could just feel that the energy from the fans was carrying them for those opening minutes. And I was just sitting there saying, if we can get through this spell, we'll win the game. And then, of course, right towards the end there of that spell, they got the goal, which is pretty disappointing. But I mean, do you guys agree? Do you think the fans had an impact in that first 20 minutes?
I mean, we didn't touch the ball in their box until I think the 35th minute.
Yeah.
I think the fans had a massive impact, but I think we should have been expecting that. I think that we were prepared for that. There's something wrong there because we have to be expecting that, just like we know, but we had fans against Wolves that, even the Wolves players said it gave us an extra man on the pitch, and it felt like more fans. So we should have known coming into this game that Fulham are going to have their fans behind them and they're going to have a fast start. And the fact that we were prepared for that actually concerned to me. The fact that it took us so long to, suss out the fact that, there was no one taking initiative in midfield or trying to control the game and just say, look, let's keep the ball for a few minutes, lads, and let's take this thing out of it. There was no one who was saying call that leadership. And there were too many times we were just doing stupid long balls. And the amount of times I kept seeing Henderson or Matip or Fabinho just doing pointless long balls that Fulham just winning. And I was like, what's the point? Why are you continuously giving the ball away? Keep the ball and pass it around and start doing that. That's what we did the difference in the second half. Yeah, I think Fulham dropped off. And I think they just played in the counter-attack because I think they thought, well, we've got the 1-0. Let's just play in the counter-attack. But I do think the fans played a part. And I think Liverpool should have been more prepared for that, especially with the champions. Teams are going to play every game at us because it's a cup final. They're going to be out there to try and beat us. So we should be knowing that, the fact that we have to give more and actually just have a fast start. You can't be going into games, how we played. Like I said, a better team beats us. Better team's outside, 3-0 in the first half, and that's game over. So if we play like that against another big team, then it's game over. So it's a bad day at the office. But Liverpool needs to do better than this.
Well, homie, Hem A says that he never thought he would say this, but he's happy with the point. Thought this is going to be another Villa-Watford result the way we started. Would you agree that you're, at the end of the day, you're happy with the point?
Yeah, I am. That's why I tweeted that as well. I said, look, I'm happy with the point that we got the point because we could have been outside. And, it wasn't for Alisson and poor finishing for Fulham's side. Because I think two of their chances, Alisson really should have been saved. The guy should have scored. And I think wasn't for that, it could have been another Villa-Watford result because we were that appalled in the first half. It was abysmal in the first half. We had, like I said, we created nothing. And I think, to just come away with a point is great, but still, this point feels like a defeat because Remember back in 17-18, it was a draws that cost us. Like City lost 4 times. We drew like 8 times that season. As a draws that 6 times. The draws that cost us. So it feels like a defeat to me.
Well, it's frustrating too because as bad as we played in that first half, the last 5 minutes we had 2 perfect opportunities to score. We had the Mane header, he had a free header and hit it over the bar, and then Salah, when he was inside the 18, had that perfect turn and completely missed the net. I mean, those are the 2 guys I think when they're both fully informed, they buried both of those chances. And again, it goes right back to Mane's form as of late. He used to lack that last touch around the net to finish it off.
Is it a concern to you? That's 1 goal in 12 games from Mane now.
I mean, I think it's one of those things, right? It's like all things considered, we're still tied for first and top of the table, but you do have to get concerned by it because he does influence the game in other ways at times, but when he's in pretty bad form right now, and he's not even doing that at the moment. And you saw him take down Bobby when he had a pretty good opportunity. I think he would have got there too, and he probably would have finished that. So it is. Let me ask you another
question. The energy for Bobby, why is it not there for Mane?
Yeah.
Because why not people are saying the energy for Bobby when people are saying we should drop Bobby, he's been a concern. Why is it not there for Mane? Because Mane's been a concern. He's not scoring. He's missing City chances. He's actually did nothing today of really of note, except for, he might run around, but he wasn't really affecting the game. When he did have chances, he missed them. We don't have the same energy for Mane.
It's the entire team, though. The entire team has just been way less clinical this year. So I think that's why Mane's lack of goal scoring has gone unnoticed. I mean, even again, Firmino had that great through ball when he megged the guy, and Henderson was one-on-one. He either should have scored that or squared it to Minamino because he was open for a pass.
He's got to go far post with his right foot there. He tried to sneak it with his left foot, and I respect that, but you're not going to beat Areola near post.
It's a big miss. And
Jones had that great run too. I mean, he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but the fact that he got there, I thought he was going to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, he did everything. Did you think it was a penalty on Fabinho?
Which one?
I didn't think
Fabinho?
Fabinho when he tackled. Do you think that was a penalty or not?
When they're looking at it on VAR.
Oh no, I don't think it was. I think he got the ball.
From
the sideline, he just nicks the ball with his toe.
There's a lot of people saying it's a penalty, but I think he's got the ball.
You thought it was a penalty?
I don't know. He got the ball.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of people who are saying that it was a penalty, trying to claim
I just don't think it was enough to change his original decision. I think hopefully VAR is going down that route where they're actually making good decisions like that. Because that's what it's in place for. It's in place to overturn a situation if it's clear and obvious. And I don't think that was absolutely clear and obvious to overturn it for a penalty. I thought it was too damn close.
Do you think Salah was fouled for the first goal?
I thought that was really soft if they gave that for a foul. Really soft. I mean, he makes a lot of it too. I mean, the guy put his hands on him, but Salah makes the most of it, I think. I don't think so. If you give that was against I would have been pissed.
I think that's soft, but a lot of people are trying to complain on Twitter saying that's a foul. They're saying that VAR didn't check this.
Sure they are. They complain about everything. But
yeah, it's true. I don't think so.
I would have taken the foul. Don't get me wrong. I definitely would have taken that foul, but no, not for me.
What did you think about how we started the second half with Matip coming out, Henderson going to center back, and then Minamino? I thought Minamino actually had a pretty good run out there today.
Well, I actually thought I was saying the entire time, second half, that I think our past 2 episodes or 3 episodes we've talked about how whether or not we should buy a center back in January. I think this cements it because Matip can't go the distance. Mahomey's been spot on the whole time in that he can't play 2, maybe even 3 games or 3 at the max, but can't play 2 games in a row even now, it seems like. So definitely need to bring somebody in, I think, in January. Nat Phillips, he's played well. Reece Williams has played well. But at the end of the day, they lack experience in the Premier League, and they're not top players yet. So we need somebody who's reliable and who does have that experience. So hopefully we spend a little bit in January. We're going to have to regardless because right now we have 3 center backs all injured and Fabinho filling in. And other than that, there's not really much else.
I think we started the second half well, but I wouldn't have brought on. I think when you move Henderson sent back, you lose something from midfield, and I think we lost Henderson's drive and movement in midfield. So I don't think Minamino did play well when he came on. I wouldn't have brought on Minamino for Matip. I brought Phillips on because I think what Fulham were doing, they were just lumping balls down the field, and Phillips can come in and handle that. They weren't doing stuff like they weren't beating us for pace really. And the only chance of the reason why they beat us for pace in the first half was because we were just so poor and sloppily. But they weren't getting those one-on-ones in the second half. So what they were doing, I think Phillips could have come on and done a job for that. I think we missed Henderson's drive in the middle of the park, and I don't like to see Henderson centre back because you lose something from the midfield. So
I do think Minamino played well when he was in there, though. He was causing a lot of problems. He was keeping the ball, keeping possession. I mean, I would have liked to see him rip a shot because we know he can shoot, given last year's Champions League. But I thought it was one of his better performances, one of his better cameos.
He did. I think was he the one who got the ball through to Hender though for the pass? Because
no, that was Bobby.
That was Bobby. He passed it to Bobby, who then
kept it alive. Two passes to Bobby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He did play well when he came on.
But yeah, I mean, even Salah's goal for the PK, I think he was pretty fortunate to get that in because that was not a well taken PK.
Yeah, someone posted that Salah is the best. You know, he scores. He's one of the top goal scorers for penalties, but one of the worst penalty takers. Like he doesn't actually give you confidence when he's standing to take the penalty. I think it's true because a lot of times you think he's run up, you think is he going to score, and then he always sometimes manages to score. So, but I thought he was going to score that one. I think when it comes to penalty, Salah doesn't miss rarely. So, but it was I think it was fortunate because I get the guy. I think like okay, look, I see them not giving, but I'll take it. But I thought after that we should go on to win the game. I was disappointed we didn't. I don't think we did enough after that to go on to win the game. I didn't understand the decision to take off Salah for Origi. Bobby should have gone off. If you're going to look to someone to score a goal, why is Salah coming off? I know he played midweek, but then it goes again to ask you, why was Salah playing for the full 90 midweek?
Like 99.
Yeah, 99. Why is he doing that?
Yeah, why are you going to bring on Origi? I mean, he hasn't scored in a year? He hasn't scored since the Champions League final. You know, he's not going to be the match winner that we've known him to be in the past. Not anymore.
My thing is, I would have especially if you kept Trent on, I would have understood bringing Origi on because we were whipping in a lot of balls and he just has a little bit of height and a little bit better with his head. But still, like the moment you take Trent off, which I was actually perfectly okay with, by the way, a lot of people were kind of chirping it, but like he has played.
No, I think Trent was poor.
Injury. But no, it didn't make sense at that point to bring him on. So I mean, I definitely disagreed with that move, and yeah, I mean. I can't really single out anybody individually who played bad because pretty much everyone was bad across the board. But when you look at the front three, I thought Salah would have been the one guy you kept on because he was really the only guy towards the end of that second half who was creating on his own and at least trying to put some balls into the mix and that sort of thing. So it was a little bit of a head scratcher. I mean, I understand we have Tottenham midweek, but still, it was a head scratching substitution today.
Did Trent and Klopp get in a little spat there when he came on?
Yeah, because he didn't acknowledge Nico coming on. Trent.
Oh,
he just walked off. Yeah, he just walked off and sat down in the chair. he didn't do the normal handshake with the player. Yeah, so Klopp's obviously not.
Yeah, if you want to be captain, you have to do that, Trent.
Exactly. Yeah, not a good thing to do after all week. We've been hearing that you're being groomed for captain, and then first game that's what happens. So.
I do have a question, though, before we move on. This is actually off topic, but what do you guys think we should do about Naby Keita? Do we sell him this summer? Well, homie, I saw you had a tweet about it earlier.
I think so. I think
with him, we spent $50+ million on him. I think he could be a great player, but you actually hinted at it about a month ago. I think I don't know if his body can handle the demands of the Premier League. He's like Joel Matip. Every other game he's injured, he's missing time, and that's just it's probably having an impact on his confidence, and it's definitely having an impact on his match fitness, obviously.
Well, I think the biggest thing we need is durability. Players who can be on the pitch. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It's about how many minutes you play on the pitch. So it doesn't matter. You can be Messi, but if you can never play, then it doesn't matter. So I think Kay's been here 3 years now, and his body can't handle it. Maybe I don't know if they rushed him back too quickly for the Michelin game, but that's what it was. But his body can't handle it. And I'd like to think he was been dropped for Tottenham game, but it's not, because obviously they said he's got some kind of injury now. So I think it pains me. And my worry also is that if we sold Keita, he'd end up being good somewhere else. We went to Germany again, a bit slower, he'd end up being good. But I just think like we can't rely on him, and I think Klopp at the end of the summer needs to take the hit and say, look, fair enough, okay, we paid 57 million for him or something, but if you get 30 million for him, and I think there'll still be takers for him in Germany who pay it, then just take it and say, look, I'm taking the hit, and then I'm going to go and buy a Wealth from Leon, who's in his final year come the summer. So I'll take the hit, and I need someone, attacking player that's going to be fit, that can play for me week in, week out, if needed be. Can you really say Kate is going to last the rest of the season without getting injured again?
No. I can't last the rest of the year. This year, 2020.
We can't rely on that. As much as I love Naby, I was a massive fan of Naby when we signed him. We can't rely on that. Because we need someone that's going to can last 10, 20 games without being injured.
Yeah, I mean, in 2018-19 season, he played 25 matches. That was his most. Last year, he only played 18, and this year he's played 6. So, I mean, clearly, if you, he was getting a lot of comparisons to Gini Wijnaldum earlier in the season, but there's no comparison for me because Gini Wijnaldum is always available.
That's what we need. We need a Keita attacking player like a Gini, and that's why you really look. I know people say Keita wasn't injured in Germany much, which he wasn't, but maybe he's not suited for England.
I don't know. The only thing with Naby, man, is that if we do sell him this summer, you're not going to get the same return. I mean, in my opinion, I think you keep him for another year, but like he's not a guy that you pencil in as a starting 11 player anymore. And I even said at the beginning of the season, he's starting to turn into the guy that, like, best case scenario is just going to be a super sub for us. Play no more than 45 minutes a game, because that's really he's proven he can't even go 60. Like, people at the beginning of the year kept saying, why does Klopp keep taking Naby out at 60 minutes? Well, this is why, because he literally cannot stay healthy whatsoever. So, in my opinion, like, unless you can get a good offer for him, which I don't think you will, I think you just keep him around on the bench. Hopefully, he turns into some sort of super sub. But, like, I don't know, because you'll be facing at least a $30 million hit, especially with COVID. So,
well, my man Akiri just said, I'm done with Naby. Send him back to Leipzig and let him dominate that Farmers League. It's a good point. So I'm wondering, do you think we could use him as leverage to get Upamecano?
Maybe. I mean, it's going to be in January.
I just think going forward next summer we need another attacking midfielder, because you have to think of that as well. Next summer, Hendo's going to be 30. Ginny's 30.
Hendo's
Thiago's 31. Thiago will be turning 30 next year. So we have to start thinking long-term planning, and we need another attacking midfielder that can come in and that can actually offer us something different. So for me, look, I'll give Naby to the end of the season. If he can't stay fit for at least 2 to 3 months, then ship him off and take the hit, to be honest. Because I think we can't go into next season with another Naby where he's injured for that long, this many times. Especially with Ox already, because I think as well Ox will end up getting broken down as well. He'll get injured again as well, Ox, before the end of the season, or before
you get more money for Keita though. So I agree. I think that makes sense.
I wouldn't sell Ox because of the English quota, because we'll lose someone in the British quota. So I wouldn't sell Ox. I'd rather sell Keita because we can replace him with someone else.
Right.
Well, Klopp just came out and said that he's still hopeful that Matip could play for Spurs. That's a little quick update there. So that looks like it was more of just like a very light back thing, just light issues with the back. So at least that's somewhat good news.
It's somewhat, but we can't rely on that. We need another centre back.
Well, I agree. Whatever. I guess that's good news. So.
Yeah, it's good news. But I mean, we don't want to be in a situation where we're having to play Hendo for a good enough period in January, February, on the Champions League games. Have to play Hendo at centre back. We don't want to be in that situation. So if you have to pay a premium in January, you have to do it, because I think that could hinge on your quest for honours going forward.
I mean, it's looking like we have to now. I mean, I think Andrew said it too. Like we pretty much have to get a center back now. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, especially with Ajax out, maybe we can go get Schurz from them or someone like that. So we'll see. We're gonna have to do something to reinforce that, and I mean, who knows? Maybe we can find like a loan option for an attacking center midfielder or something, but I doubt it.
I think we need another forward.
Yeah, another forward. If depending on when Jota comes back. But again, also though, when I think a lot of problems will be solved through the middle when Thiago comes back. It's just a matter of when he comes back. Hopefully it's January, but I think the team will look a lot better there too because he's going to add a lot of that creativity.
In terms of a forward, I think it depends. It's dependent on if any of the front three leave this summer. Like does Mo leave?
I don't think it should be based on that. I think we need. If you look at it, Bayern have 4 forwards, and they're thinking of getting another 5th one. I think that's the kind of reserve you need if you want to be at a top club. You need to have multiple of them. Because right now, we've only got Salah, Mane, Firmino, Jota. I think you need one more for rotation. It doesn't have to be like a superstar, but it could be an upcoming young forward. I would be tempted to go to Watford and try for Sarr on loan or put in a cheeky bid for them. Because they are struggling now. Because I think we need someone else. Because if we've lost our firing goal scorer, with him out, who else is scoring the goals? Because Salah's not really here. It's burning the fire. Bobby's not scoring. Mane's not scoring. So who else is going to score the goals for us? But I think we definitely need another forward. And you can keep them all happy because Bayern do it. Chelsea do it with the amount of forwards they've got. So you can't keep them all happy. So I don't. I think we need another one.
Well, it's interesting to watch. It's going to be an interesting window for us, that's for sure. It could be really active. I wouldn't be surprised, but now we got to shift. Gears. I think tomorrow we're going to find out who our opponent is for the knockout stages, and then we have probably the biggest match of the year so far against Tottenham coming up on Wednesday. So. Now, hopefully we can regroup. Hopefully we can kind of use this like the Villa game to kind of light a fire under our ass that we have to be better and come out with a really strong performance against Spurs because we go out and win that game. We're right where we should be, top of the table, a lot closer than it should be. But if we can just stay in that first position, second position, by the time we get a guy like Thiago back, I think we're going to be really tough out. So it's just getting through this tough period, getting through all these games, staying as healthy as possible. Once that calendar turns over, I think that's when we can hopefully make a move and really solidify ourselves as top of the table.
Well, I think the thing with it, we probably will put a great performance against Spurs because we're at home. Our home games have always been good this season. We've always been fast-paced. Wolves, Leicester, fast out the blocks. We don't do that away from home. So with the fans there as well, I think we will put a big performance in against Wednesday. But I just feel that obviously we need to then turn that home form into away form if you want to retain a title. But I do expect a big performance. I expect people to be pressing like crazy like we did against Wolves. So, yeah, I do expect a big performance on Wednesday.
Yeah, big bounce back, get to 3 points, and then this point can be pretty valuable going forward. So we got to take advantage of that. We got to take advantage of beating the top teams. I think if we do that on Wednesday, we'll still in good shape despite everything that's happened this season. So I think everyone can agree man of the match for us was Alisson, so we can kind of just skip right over that. But I think that pretty much just wraps up this episode. Really frustrating, but hopefully just a good night's rest. Hopefully get a good draw tomorrow, and then could come back strong on Wednesday against Tottenham. So I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of Yanks the Cop. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and leave your comments. We'll definitely get to them. So we'll be back in a couple days for the pre-match of Tottenham, up the Reds, and we'll see you guys next episode. Take care, everybody.
Up the Reds.